So it turns out that Square Enix is not having a good time. I wonder why. Well, they've been having to eat some crow and take some damage because they've recently had to cancel a bunch of things that they were making. So they're going to report an extraordinary 22.1 billion yen loss because they just were making games that weren't going to be received well. So they're canceling games in a more selective pipeline. So they're going to be very careful about what they put money behind going forward. So they're expected to claim extraordinary losses in their latest fiscal year end, March 2024, totaling 22.1 billion yen. That's $140 million US.
Yeah, I just did the conversion. I was like, I had to take a look at that myself. That's insane.
That's a lot of money, right? So the report notes the
Wow, man.
company will recognize extraordinary losses. Why? Content abandonment, which means they stopped making the games and they'd already dumped all that into it.
Jesus.
That's not good. And it's not because they haven't had well-received stuff, right? Because all the Final Fantasy remakes and all the junk that Nick plays, right, Nick?
I love it.
Yeah. So all the stuff that he's been playing, everything that makes money. What wasn't going to make money was some of the money they had spent on some other stuff. They're changing their policy on development of high definition games. That's interesting. And the company said that the new policy change has the intention of being more selective and focused in the allocation of development resources, which means we're not going to make stuff that people aren't going to buy.
Yeah.
So will they be more selective in the sense that they won't put any political garbage in it? Don't know. This is going to get fleshed out over the next several days, I would imagine, but it's not outright stated what the actual issues are. This is the actual statement that they sent out. We'll go through it. At the meeting convened on March 27th, the board of directors of Square Enix Holdings voted, in light of the myriad of changes underway in the environment surrounding its group, to revise group's approach to the development of HD games with the intention of being more selective, yada yada. As a result of a close examination of the group's development pipeline undertaken in keeping with this revised approach, the company expects to recognize those huge losses. The outlook. The company is carefully reviewing its consolidated forecast for the fiscal year ended March 2024 to assess for potential for impact from the above or other factors. Should revisions to its forecast prove necessary, the company will promptly disclose same. So, it's a lot of mumbo jumbo to tell you that they're not quite done looking at what all this will be, and it may be more. And when they go to report at their quarterly, expect disappointment.
But they're not worth a lot of money either. It's like they got a 4.1 billion market cap. It's not a huge amount. How can they afford to lose $140 million?
Because going forward would cost them even more. Sometimes in a company that size, you have to absolutely cut your losses, and this will happen. I imagine that. I imagine they were into the development of maybe 2 or 3 other games. Nick, do you want to weigh in here because you're the resident gaming gamer?
So a lot of people don't know this, but their most the game that has grossed the most for Square is Space Invaders from 1978. Space Invaders. But yeah, the remake project, Final Fantasy VII, it's brought in over $2 billion just in that series alone. I don't know where their problem is. I don't know if they're spending too much on development or if they're just putting too much time and money into crap games that nobody cares about. I mean, they know what sells for them. Tomb Raider, the Final Fantasy VII series, which this is another thing. And Square's really going to have to look at this, is the exclusivity of PlayStation only. Because Rebirth just dropped on PS5 exclusively, so people who don't have a PS5 can't play it. Nobody on Xbox can play it. Nobody on PC can play it or anything as of right now. So I don't know how much Sony's given them to make this exclusive, but
It has to be considerable because back in
I
February
think so.
they were projecting a 16.8% increase in full year sales.
Yeah.
So that would push their number to about 2.3 billion in US dollars. So, and they were anticipating that their profits would be flat to the tune of $350 million. That's so they've just basically cut that in half with these impairment charges.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they had in the pipeline that they're looking at it canceling or getting rid of or how they're cutting
What's
costs.
costing that much? I mean,
Well, video games cost a lot to develop now, especially AAA titles.
Yeah.
yeah, but they haven't been doing that much, is what I mean.
Well, they did this
Unless there's
this
another
year.
Final Fantasy that they've been developing, but they wouldn't
Well,
because they make money for them. They're good.
Well, this year they released Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which Nick just mentioned, and Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
So they have on the horizon Kingdom Hearts 4 and Dragon Quest 12 in their release calendar. That it seems to be things that are sticking around.
And those things have been in development for a long time. A long time. And that's the other thing. I don't know why it's taken so long for them to get some of these games out. I mean, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy, but fans of that series,
they love it.
Are like, what's taking so long? Is this game ever going to happen? Is it ever going to come out? There's been no news or anything shown on it in, I think, like 2 or 3 years. The last teaser trailer they showed at E3.
They've been developing Final Fantasy 17 supposedly forever, and when they released Final Fantasy 16, that sold 3 million copies during its launch week just for PlayStation 5, as Nick mentioned. So because of that exclusivity, they're not getting a broader market.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. I mean, yeah, I pay attention to the business stories like that because I'm looking at what's happening for the broader game developer or whatever the broader market is that I'm looking at. And they're all struggling right now with what to produce and who their customers are. For a good reason. They really have been shunning their customers. Right?
That's a lot of money to lose.
It is
a lot of money to lose.
It is. I mean, I'm not playing it down. I'm just saying if you think about it, they basically cut their profits flat.
Yeah.
I mean, in half. It's just bad.
God damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty terrible.
Yeah, good.
Pretty terrible. I don't have too much. I think the video game industry is going to have a pretty rude awakening moving forwards with this whole Sweet Baby Inc. nonsense and other companies doing very similar things.
Let me pause for one more question to Nick. Nick, the AAA, we don't need AAA like this anymore, right? Not from these big studios, because you have things like Helldivers and Pal World and all these other entities. So I'm like,
I mean, Fortnite, Minecraft. I mean, when those came out, originally, I mean, and those were huge games. The AAA game is really been watered down. I mean, the last big AAA game that I got into where I was just like blown away was the Uncharted series. When I first played Uncharted, I was like, holy crap, this is Indiana Jones in a video game. Like, this is like everything, like the hanging from the train, all the crazy stuff that was happening throughout the whole game. It was so revolutionary, and there's just not anything out there like that on that AAA level right now, and there hasn't been in quite some time. I mean, to me, which I'm 100% biased, is the Final Fantasy VII remake series, which is awesome. Like, I love those characters, and I like what they're doing with the story. I like seeing
Well-
everything in today's graphics and everything being crisp and clean, you know. And it's not a perfect game by any means, but I mean, I gave it like a 9 out of 10.
Right. And for those who don't know the numbers that were just released fairly recently, and a lot of us reported on it, most people, 60% of playtime is actually being spent with games that are 6 years old or older.
Yeah.
So people aren't playing the new modern garbage. And for that reason, Embracer is having to split into 3 different pieces.
Yep.
You know, and that's not good for the industry. I mean, Embracer, the president has taken it on himself for, you know, his the way he was going with Embracer.
Yeah.
And he's right. It's his fault. He decided to give these people woke wings. And, you know, it floated them into the lava side of the pool where, you know, they're just burning up.
Yep.
Bad
Before
idea.
So
Rebirth.
saying that woke is red bullshit.
Well, actually, I'm saying it's Red Hulk right now.
Red Hulk bullshit. Okay, that's too much. Sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Rebirth came out, the only game I actually purchased that I actually played on a regular basis was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which was awesome. It was fun. Me and some buddies would get on there and play cooperative on there, and I played the shit out of that game. It wasn't a AAA game. There's a Mega Man clone type game that's also coming out. I actually just got the Sonic the Hedgehog remastered game on PlayStation. Like there's just not a whole lot of AAA games.
There's nothing good coming out.
Huge,
There's just nothing.
you know. I mean, Stellar Blade. I mean that's something that's new, that's out, that's big, but you know that's surrounded in controversy also, especially with the whole censorship and all that sort of stuff. So
I think the next big thing, which they will probably announce soon, will be Fallout 5. And that'll be a huge AAA game, I reckon.
Yeah. And GTA 6 is going to be coming out, and that's already got fans worried and upset that there's going to be a lot of DEI sweet baby crap in there.
Oh, it will be. We've already seen it. We've seen it in gameplay and dialogue already.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, that's why people are playing older things. I mean, Saints Row absolutely destroyed. It destroyed the game franchise and it destroyed the studio that made it.
So funny.
All of it signed, all of it SBI, all of it sweet baby bullshit.
So funny.
Yeah. What game did you say, Culture?
Saints Row.
Yeah. Same thing with Forspoken.
Forspoken's dead. I mean, we can go through a list of them. What was that latest one we just covered on Thursday? Gao or Yao or
Kenzara.
Oh
yeah. Yep.
That thing was DOA, and they were trying to hide the fact that basically that was their game.
Yeah, Sweet Baby Inc.'s game. Yeah. Oh, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Well, there you go. I think that's about it on this, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, if Square is smart, they would be developing a Chrono Trigger and Xenogears games right now, because those franchises are huge. Fans have been wanting updated, versions of those games or a continuation of that franchise for years and years and years. It's just all about decision making on their part, and hopefully they get it together.
Yeah.